This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing it with me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day to be seized, yeah. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and higher up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. I feel the Spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it.
Thank you, Bradfords. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Clyde Goings. I'm the assistant minister, and I want to welcome you here this beautiful Sunday morning. I just love our winter mornings. It's still a little chilly out there, but it's still beautiful. I just want to give you guys a quick update. Reverend Karen is not here today, if you noticed. It's Sue. Believe it or not, she is coming back. Hello, everybody online. Actually, Reverend Karen got some kind of bug over the last this last weekend, and so she's been really under the weather, just trying to fight that bug. She doesn't have COVID; it's some kind of other bug that she has. So I know that she's on the road to recovery, she said, but she's not quite there yet. So she's continuing to take care of herself, and we'll just hold her in our prayers, and that would be great. All right, and so a couple of announcements. The first one is, so we are painting the sanctuary tomorrow, which is very, very, very exciting. And so we've asked the men to help, and I'm like, there ain't no wrong with the women can help too. So after service today, if you're able to stay for a little while, we have to do a little bit of cleanup and pull things away from the walls and stuff like that so they can paint everything. So if you're available to stay to help out in any way, that would be great because we are painting it. And so when you come in here next Sunday, it's going to be a different color. And I'm not going to tell you what color. You're just going to be surprised. So come next Sunday for not only to see the new beautiful paint job that we're going to have, but because we're having our business meeting next Sunday. So I finally got the Sunday right. So our business meeting is next Sunday, and we really need enough people here to have a quorum so we can vote on. We have a couple new people, candidates for the board, which we're really excited about. And so what like Reverend Karen says is qualified as a member for our community is number one, that you're attending on Sunday service, number two, that you're tithing, and number three, that you're attending the events. So any of those if you fit into any of those categories, then we consider you a member of our community. So, and that why is that important is because we want you to be here next Sunday, because we want you to be part of our voting and also hear the business information. And I'm sure Reverend Karen will be back to share a little bit of her vision for 2022. All right, and then I want to remind everybody that the fellowship hall, after service, that is open. So maybe run over there, get a snack, and then come back and help us get this place tore down. But also, we are just starting to open it back up. So if you would like to bring snacks, something simple. We want to keep it simple. We're not doing a whole buffet every Sunday right now. But at least some simple snacks that would be great to share. Also, the thrift store is open. And Mary has been sitting front and center, so that way it reminds me to tell everybody the thrift store is open. So please come to the thrift store or go check out our thrift store. It is open. And then one last thing is that I'm just asking for everybody to keep Ukraine in your prayers. So the power of prayer is very, 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 very powerful. So if we can just pray for peace, quick resolution of whatever's happening, and then surround all the families with love and just hold them in your prayers while this is all going on, and we can do that collectively and know that the highest and best good is unfolding for them. So, all right. And then our vision statement, we want to start off with our vision statement, so if we can say this together. We are a loving, joy-filled community honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles. And so it is. So if you can just simply sit back, relax, open up your arms, uncross your arms, and just breathe into this beautiful community, knowing that we are here full of love, and the Bradfords will open up our hearts with their beautiful music. Thank you.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
Good morning. Right here, right now, in this sacred space, in this sacred time, there is but one essence, one spirit, one first cause, the all of everything. It is love, beauty, light, joy, peace, freedom. And this essence, which I choose to call God, is within all. We are all part of the whole. We are all love, joy, beauty, peace, freedom, light. That is who we intrinsically are. And that is how God shows up through us as us. And I say a word of blessing for Reverend Karen, knowing that she is perfect, wholly, complete, very fast. I say a word of blessing for Sue and her beautiful words that divinely inspired, that helps us grow, and messages that we can take with us and pass on. I say a word of blessing for the Bradfords and their awesome music, which always is just hits our hearts exactly the way it should be. And I know that this whole service is perfect, whole, and complete. And I also know that God works through the people of Ukraine, and that they also, too, are joy, peace, love, light, beauty. And I know that this will be a perfect ending, and their lives will be okay. So I just release all of this into the law, knowing that it's already done, and together we say, and so it is. Okay, so I'm doing something really weird today, guys. Well, it is. Because I've not done this before, but this has been in my head for the last 3 days. And it's a prayer. And I don't know if anybody has ever heard of it before, but it's the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. There's nothing weird about that. Well, thank you. But it was actually printed on the back of cards given to all the soldiers in World War I for them to take to the war. And then it was also used in World War II. But right now, I just feel like this is what I need to be saying. So here we go. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, let me show pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. God, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. All the aspects of God in one prayer. Let us think about that one for a moment. And so it is.
So I'm going to cue you guys, and you can sing what I just sang, okay? You'll mirror me. God is life and I am life. God is life and I am life. God is light and I am light. God is light and I am light. God is joy and I am joy. God is joy and I am joy. God is love and I am love. God is love and I am love. God is peace and I am peace. God is peace and I am peace. God is beauty and I am beauty. God is power and I am power. God is power and I am power. God is good, yes, God is good. God is good, yes, God. All these things God is. All these things I am. All these things God is. All these things God is. All these things God is. All these things I am. All these things God is. All these things I am. God is good.
Well, that was absolutely perfect, as always. It always works out that way. So we'll just move this because I don't want to run into it. So good morning, everyone. I'm Sue Witter. I'm one of the practitioners, and I'm in ministerial school as an intern there with the center then. So I am very excited to be here, sad because of why I'm here, but glad to be here. And I know that one of the blessings that the pandemic has given us is even if people have finally learned, if you don't feel good, stay home. I can't tell you how often people at work would come in and they're, coughing and sneezing. It's like, go home. So that's one of the good things that we've learned. And so I'm grateful that Reverend Karen listened to the wisdom of her body and decided to stay home. So let's see. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, my talk title is Love and Courage. And the Centers for Spiritual Living has an annual theme every year, and this year's theme is Living in Everyday Wonder. And each month has a theme, and the month of February is about the inner life. And so there's an interesting thing that they have created. It's a tool to help you look at yourself and in different areas of your life. And it says, take some time to turn within and contemplate the following aspects of your life. This is echoing, so I'm going to try to move it. Your inner life, which is, start again. Take some time and turn within and contemplate the following aspects of your life. Your inner life, which they define as mental and spiritual well-being, play, creativity, emotions, your physical body, relationships, nature, work, finances, home, and community. And if there's any other area, you can add that as well. And then they encourage you to, without judgment, look at your life and say, where do I stand with all of those? And they have this little wheel that you can put a dot where you think you are and draw them together. And sometimes it's lovely and round, and most of us it's not. It's kind of crooked. But this is the reason I'm bringing this up. They say orienting ourselves to wonder and being curious about life expands us and our experience of life. Are there areas in your life where you might benefit from being curious? And I will tell you, if I had to just pick one thing, and I could only grasp one spiritual principle, they said, this is it, you got to pick. You guess, pick one. It would be curiosity. I really believe that response is the response that starts us on the road to healing when we're in a place that's difficult. So I was kind of struggling with how to do this and how to approach it, and I spent a long time reading different things and looking at different things on the internet. And I finally went to my email for some other reason, and I saw my latest Brene Brown newsletter because I'm involved with the Daring Way community. And she said, from dehumanizing anti-trans laws in Texas to the violence in Ukraine, we know the world feels unsafe for so many right now. We're thankful that both of our communities continue to show up and normalize hard emotions. We hope we can find some peace in knowing that we are working to put more love and courage into a world where all people are worthy of love, belonging, and safety. And I will tell you, I believe that that's true of this community. I believe that that's true of the Centers for Spiritual Living, that we are committed to looking at life through a kinder lens, looking at life through the perspective of love. And that's not the romantic love. It's that common humanity love that says we are one, that we are more alike than we are different. And that from that space of really understanding that we're all a part of the same stuff, that message, I believe, carries the world up. I believe that every time we lift our thoughts, we put into the collective consciousness a higher thought, and higher thoughts always heal lower thoughts. So Brene Brown used to end things with the brave and that we are the brave and brokenhearted, and that used to agitate me in the beginning until I looked at it and listened to her talk about it. And that is, if we're courageous, things will happen. We aren't going to be on 100% of the time. We will fall. That's a part of life. It's a part of being human. No one gets through without falling. The key is, how do you get back up? And so for her, that's the brave and the brokenhearted, because you're brokenhearted, because inevitably you will fall. How do you respond to that? But lately, she's been ending things with stay awkward, brave, and kind. And I thought she can just come up with the strangest collection of words to put together. But I looked up awkward, and it said not easy to handle or deal with, requiring great skill, ingenuity, or care. And really, that's a pretty good way to approach that. With great ingenuity and care, with kindness, and being brave. So I looked at that and I thought, I'm good with that. I really can say, am I willing to be that? Because her whole focus is about vulnerability. Am I willing to be awkward? Because some of the other definitions were ones that we don't necessarily love, like showing lack of expertness. Well, I hate that.
That's awkward.
It is awkward. So I had a friend who said to me once, Sue, you want to be experienced, but you do not want to have the experiences that'll get you experienced. To which I said something very unkind that I can't repeat from here. So it's a process of being willing to open our hearts, being willing to be brave enough and have enough courage to say, I will look for love in a time when there really doesn't appear to be any handy. In the annual conference for Centers for Spiritual Living in January, Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen gave a keynote address, and he used a quote that touched my heart. It's from a woman named L.R. Nost, who is a child advocate and has an advocacy program. And her quote is, "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break. All things can mend. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go. Love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally. The broken world awaits in darkness for the light that is you." The world awaits the light that is you. And I believe that people in this philosophy who are drawn to this philosophy are people who understand that we're willing to be a light in the darkness. So in looking at the topic that was sort of in the suggested realm of things for the whole series that they give you on the annual theme, they were talking about fear. And one of the quotes that they had was, "If you could see the object of your fear until you really understand it, it would no longer exert any effect on you. You can do this to the degree where you become aware that you are divinely guided and protected, and establish your understanding of this in a definite way." So every, a minister friend of mine says the hardest job a minister has is to say the same thing 52 different ways. Because really there's only so much. The principles are the principles. And so it's about learning to look at them in a different way. And I think that none of that will make sense, regardless who's doing the talking. Me, Reverend Karen, Reverend Clyde, somebody completely unknown, that to do that, we have to really, truly believe at the depths of our being that indeed we are a representation, a reflection, an expression of the divine. That it lives and moves and has its being in, through, and as me, in, through, and as you, in, through, and as everyone, everywhere. One of the foundational principles of science of mind. It's all God. It's all God. And when we're in a time like we are right now, it's pretty hard to look out at the world and say it's all God. But we are humans, and humans behave in human ways. So Madame Curie, Marie Curie, who was the pioneer in radiation therapy in medicine, had unfortunately killed her because there was an overexposure. And I looked up something about her on the internet, and this is horrifying. Her body's still radioactive for a long time. But she did send the world a great gift. So anyway, she said, nothing in life should be feared, only understood. Now is the time to understand more and to fear less. And so for me, understanding is about understanding that oneness. It's about understanding that we are more alike than we are different. It is about understanding that people respond in ways that are challenging, we'll say. That is easy for us to point our fingers at our hands and say, that's wrong, that's bad. But always remember that from the person doing it, they don't perceive it as wrong or bad. So the world is filled with humans doing human things. My job is to realize that the only thing that I can do is change me. The only thing I can do is funnel more good into the collective consciousness of the world. I can pray and hold the people in strife in my compassionate heart. I can use things like the loving kindness meditation and the Tonglen meditation, and when I listen to the news, I use both of those a lot because it's about extending goodness to the world around you. And there's a Roman historian named Titus Livy. We say it in English. It was Titus Leviticus, I believe. Fear is always ready to see things worse than they are. Fear is always ready to see things worse than they are. And that's really how our brain is hardwired. In new neuroscience understanding, they know we have a default mode in the mind, and it goes first to judgment, to fear, and to looking for what's wrong. And that is kind of our brain is naturally programmed because it's still functioning off the lizard brain, the fight, flight, freeze, when we get in stress. The first thing it shuts down is the prefrontal cortex. That is the one that has the executive intelligence to tell us what to do and how to respond at a higher level. And so the brain in its default mode is always looking around and saying, what could go wrong? And what can I do to prevent it? What can I do to make it better? What can I do to make me safe? That's really what are you good or bad? Safe or not safe? That's what the brain's looking for. And it will make up a story to have it make sense. The bad news is facts have nothing to do with that story. Nothing. It has to do with our belief system. So we're hardwired that way. When you look at fear, there's an expression that a lot of people use. It's from a book by Susan Jeffers. The title is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So for me, that's almost though not the point. Yes, we feel it. Yes, that's important to feel it and do it anyway. But it's about changing our perspective on the emotions that we don't like, be it fear or anger or whatever your hot button may be. Y'all know me. My go-to is anger first. You people. But it's about learning to say, these emotions are not monumental. They are a part of life. They are part of the human experience. And so it's not mine to judge it as good or bad, right or wrong. It's to look at it and say, do I like the outcome of feeling this? Do I like the outcome? If the answer is no, then I can make a new choice. But it's also to remember that something like fear can be good. You got to learn to not put your hand on a hot stove. You've got to learn to do all kinds of things. And fear is one of its teachers. But it's being willing to allow our emotions, to accept them, to really even bless them. The first time I had somebody tell me to bless my fear and anger, I also said something not good. I'm very fortunate to have a minister that I worked with for years who is not bothered by me saying very not good things to him when he tells me something I don't like. He's used to me. But to me, the most important thing is to be curious about it. What is underneath this? If I have responded with fear or with anger or with sadness or gladness or happiness or joy, be curious. What's underneath it? What's driving it? Because if it's good, you want to learn what's underneath it so that you can do it again, right? If it's something, when you look at the question, do I like this outcome? And the answer is yes, then being curious about how you got there is a really good thing, because you want to be able to replicate it, just as much as being curious about what challenges you to avoid it. So there's a woman named Audre Lorde who's a poet and a social activist, and she says, "When I care to be powerful, to use my strength in service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I'm afraid." It becomes less important whether I'm afraid. And I think that that's true with it. When we look at processing our emotions, if we're curious about them, it does become less and less important, because I'm willing to open my heart and my mind and look at things differently. I know that a lot of people, another expression that you hear a lot is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Same teacher said, what would you do if you knew you would fail and it didn't make any difference? It didn't mean anything about you. To which I think I probably responded with, I was unaware you smoked crack. But it's true. What if it doesn't mean anything about you? We make up all the meaning in life. We do. We either agree with someone else's, which is still our choice, or we make up the meaning. So what if we stopped looking and worrying about whether we were going to do well or not, whether we were going to fail or not, and say, because none of it means anything about me, other than I'm human and I'm living. Ernest Holmes from The Power of an Idea says, failure does not mean the loss of something. Failure occurs only if the loss of that thing makes our enthusiasm, our courage, our zest for life, our faith, our conviction, and our happiness from us. It only occurs if that failure takes those things from us. That is failure indeed, he says. So there's another quote from Brene Brown. She says, you can be, excuse me. She says, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you can't have both. To which I always add, at least not at the same time. Stepping out and being willing to take a stand for love, to take a stand for the principles that we teach, to take a stand for a good life, to take a stand for a perspective that is open and kind and caring and compassionate takes courage. And courage is not comfortable. It's not always comfortable. You have to be willing to step into the unknown. You have to be willing to be vulnerable, and that's also something that most of us don't rush into. So it's the original term courage comes from a French word, cor, and it means, it's the Latin for heart. And one of its earliest forms, the word courage, had a very different definition. It was originally meant to speak one's mind by telling all of one's heart. Does that take courage, or would that take courage? To be willing to stand in a place where you're willing to speak from your heart. That is an essential piece. Ordinary courage is about putting vulnerability on the line. In today's world, that's pretty extraordinary. To be willing to open up, to do what you believe to be right, and let the chips fall where they may, and not be worried about what other people think. So if we look at, the title of the talk is Love and Courage. Ernest Holmes says, love overcomes both hate and fear. Love is the victor in every case. Love breaks down the iron bars of thought, shatters the walls of material belief, severs the chain of bondage which thought has imposed, and sets the captive free. That's from the book Effective Prayer. It breaks down the iron bars of thought. How often have you felt imprisoned by your thoughts? I know there have been times that I've just wanted to see if I could shake my head and make the, it's like, how can I wash it? What can I do to make this endless loop? Sometimes I get an endless loop and it just won't stop. Sort of like, have you ever had a song? Oh, yeah. Have you ever had a song? Those are easy to cop to. And I had Love Shack one day. I really thought I was going to have to run my head through a wall or something. It's like Love Shack I listened to music to try to make it stop. It wouldn't. Finally, it went away. But it's about realizing that our mind locks and loads on certain things. And so to be kind and to be gentle and to realize that love overcomes. Love is the answer. Whatever the question, love is the answer. And it's not necessarily, sometimes I look at it and I say, that's that big, open-hearted, I can see the good in everything, I can see the God in everything. I can't get there sometimes. I don't know about you, but I think I would love to be able to look at it and say, God is good all the time, and I can see the good in you, and some days I'm not there. So what do? How do you find that space? For me, it's backing up a step. And for me, the place that I can usually get to from a loving perspective is kindness. Can I be kind? If we could all just be kind to one another, the world would be a completely different place. So for me, when I'm struggling with how to figure out how to engage in a loving mindset, in a loving worldview, kindness is often my starting place. The one thing that Ernest Holmes talks a lot about is givingness, and that love is givingness. And I did a quick search on a handful of places where I have a lot of quotes. And the New Thought Dictionary defines love as the outpouring of spirit, the givingness of life, in its lesser sense, the affection one has for one another. The principle of love is not to be confused with mere sentimentality, although forms of love are aspects of it. It is the great transforming power which brings everything into harmony. It is the unifying principle, the creative element, the motivating power of all that is fine and noble in life. In metaphysical treatment, it is the healing force. And there are so many quotes that I found that would be so easy to go on about givingness, but here's the hook to me with givingness. All of us love to be good givers. I really do believe that. I believe that we have in our hearts, especially if we're drawn to this philosophy, a desire to give. But the world is reciprocal. You have to be able to receive as well as you give. And a lot of us are really not good at that. Others are the reverse. It's easy for them to receive but not give. But it's that balance. It's the harmony of giving and receiving. To me, that's what givingness is. It's both the giving and receiving. And being willing to learn to receive is oftentimes one of the hardest things we do, because we have a sense somehow that perhaps we shouldn't be that. You know, we shouldn't, there's something inherently wrong with us is one of the parts of the default mode of the brain, that we are inherently flawed. But that's not true. At our core is basic goodness. At our core is basic goodness. It's my favorite teaching about Buddhism. Christianity has the 10 Commandments, which are the thou shalt nots. Buddhism has the paramitas, and the paramitas are basically the thou shalts. They're those qualities to strive toward, patience and love and kindness. So it's about really learning to say, what can I do to turn my space from one of judgment to one of kindness, to one of from not caring to caring, from anger to peace. What do I need to do to find that balance? And I will tell you, I believe that curiosity is always the answer. What's underneath this for me? Because there's always something. There's always some piece that's been touched in me, that's been activated in me. And it's mine to heal. The only person I can heal in this world is me. I would love to be able to fix a lot of people, in my opinion, who don't think they need to be fixed. Hi, honey, I know you're watching. My husband is home watching. He's probably home going, yeah, I don't need to be fixed, and you try. Yeah. So it's about really being able to say, am I willing to just be curious and to be kind? If I can do that, the world will turn around. In 365 Days of Science of Mind, Holmes says, every heart responds to the warmth of love. Every mind yearns for its embrace, and no life is complete without it. Love really is the fulfillment of the law of good. Love alone can heal the world and enable people to live together in unity and peace. So that's our marching orders, I believe, is to be curious and to be kind. If we can be curious and be kind, it will be easier to have courage and love. It will be easier to open our hearts and not be as attached to the outcome. So I'm going to go back to the L.R. Nost quote before we end here. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. That's the key. What is my intention? Even at times when my mind runs amok, I don't have the intention really to be mean. It's an emotional response, but I don't wake up in the morning and say, who can I be mean to today? Some people might disagree, but I promise you, that's not the case. What is my intention? To wake up in the morning and say, what is my intention for this day? What quality of God do I want to express more of? Is it love? Is it peace? Is it kindness, compassion, caring, wisdom, clarity, understanding? Doesn't matter. God is limitless qualities of good. And it's our job to set our intention as to what we want to demonstrate in the world. And then she goes on to say, go. Love intentionally, extravagantly, and unconditionally. The broken world awaits in darkness for the light that is you. And in Creative Living, Ernest Holmes says, love will find the solution to every problem. will answer every question. It is the lodestone of life, the center of reality, the heart of the universe, and it will ultimately win and vanquish every foe. At a time like this in our world, and not just what's happening in Ukraine, but what's happening in our world, we have lost a lot of basic human kindness and civil discourse. We're in a phase in our life where we're bringing up, I believe how this works is that if you're here and a group of people set an intention to be here, everything unlike this comes up to be healed. And I really think that's where we are. We've set an intention to live a kinder, more compassionate life. There are many, many people in this world who are making those choices now. And so nothing can heal in the dark, so things are coming out to be looked at, to be resolved, to be healed. So I don't know if you know Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's the guy who did Hamilton and many other things, but he has an adorable little book. It's called Good Morning, Good Night. A little pep talks for me and you. And it's really just a little thing in the morning and a little thing at night. So here's one of my favorite ones. Good morning. Eyes up, hearts up, minds sharp, compassion on full blast. Okay, let's go. And the night is good night. Eyes shut, hearts open, minds calm, empathy on full blast. Okay, let's go. So that's That's my word for you guys. Okay, let's go. So thank you. So let's now just anchor this in prayer and know, absolutely know, that even when things feel impossible, they are not. So right here, right now, in this very moment, this divine moment, this moment of perfect expression, this moment of the divine presence that is peace and joy, love and happiness, kindness, compassion, health, well-being, prosperity, abundance, wisdom, clarity, and so much more. That each and every one of those qualities are the qualities that live and move and have their being inside of us, operating as us. And that there is nothing in the world that can eradicate that. We may turn away from it at times, but nothing, absolutely nothing can eradicate it. It is intrinsic and inherent in who we are. We are peace and joy, love and happiness, kindness, compassion, wisdom and clarity, and so much more. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones who are here to change the world, one thought at a time, one person at a time, and that person is always only me. We are here to make a difference in the world. We are here to make a difference in the world simply because we've shown up. Not because of what we do or say, but simply because we are here. We are here to be an expression of the divine. So I know that as we go forward, we do so with an open mind and an open heart, with a willingness to be vulnerable and to fall and to rise again, with a willingness to stop and be curious and to wonder, like our annual theme, to wonder every day, to live in that everyday wonder. That curiosity, that ability to say, without judgment, do I like the outcome? Or do I choose again? That we are here to touch the lives of everyone around us, to be an expression of the divine, to know that people can simply be healed because they are in your presence. Without doing anything, love heals. So as we go forward, we do so with a sense of wonder and joy, happiness, peace, with a willingness to say, okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. For there is nothing that can stop the divine, can stop the divine expression. It's like moving water that created the Grand Canyon. Nothing, absolutely nothing can stop it. So I give thanks for this extraordinary philosophy. I give thanks for the people who are here today, who are watching virtually, who will watch this later. I know that each and every one of us has an open heart and a willingness to make a difference in the world by being courageous enough to love. So I give thanks and I release this out into the law and into the synchronicity that is love and law. And the universe always says yes. And so together we say, and so it is. Thanks, everyone.
Grateful
And I'm so grateful for the Bradfords. Thank you, guys. All right, so now's the time to celebrate the abundance of our community and the abundance of our lives at this very moment, and the abundance of the world. So reminding everybody that we are not passing around the offering plate. We have drop boxes in the back of the room and also in the bookstore area. So you can drop your tithe in there, and we definitely appreciate that. So we are going to say our affirmation together. Let's say it together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Please stand for our final song. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life to live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life to live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life to live in the moment. Feels good, don't it? Feels good, don't it? Only got one life. Live. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. It feels so good to be alive. One more time. It feels so good to be alive. Woo!
Thank you, Bradfords. As always, your presence lifts us in unimaginable and unperceivable ways. So, one other quick thing, please know that on our website, wvcsl.com, all of the talks are there, all of the past talks are there, all of the events that are going on, everything that you need to know about what's happening here at the center can be found there. And there is also an opportunity for you to hit a little button and go and donate. So it's an all-purpose website. So let's just have one quick closing affirmation. Repeat after me. I give the world my love and courage.
Oh, I give the world my love and courage.
Today and every day.
Today and every day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.